beans are for consumption. They're not for projectile weaponry, right?
Hey guys, and welcome to Quest for the Best, a podcast where we seek out the best of the best foods. From snack cakes to candies to sauces, drinks, and sandwiches, no food is off limits. My name is Amy, and with me today, as always, is my husband, Matt. And our guests today, we have our friend, Nate.
Hey, it's me.
And my little brother, Alan.
Aw.
Howdy.
Hey guys, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, Albie.
Thanks for inviting us. I'm
Wait,
so
did you
ready.
say Albie?
I said Alan, but
Alan.
do you want to
Albie.
go by Albie or Alan?
I mean, just throw whatever comes naturally, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
I imagine we'll be hearing
Jeff.
Guy.
Got it, Jeff.
Eugene.
I have to say, for this episode, I specifically made sure that Alan was a guest today because this guy likes some baked beans. So, Alan, tell me how your love of baked beans began.
Well, I guess I'll tell, we'll start off with some credentials here, right?
I'm a professor.
Professor
yeah,
Bean Man. over
Right,
here.
right. I've been in school for a good 6 years now, right? I started going, I got my associates in web development programming, right? I got my bachelor's of science in computer science after that, and I'm currently working on my master's in computer science. So hopefully that lets the listener know, and hopefully you guys are already keenly aware of
So
this.
you're going to school for beans, or you're just poor, so that's all you can eat, and that's
Well, what I'm leaning into here is that that should imply a level of intelligence, right? and subjects like this require that level of intelligence in terms of being able to piece things together and what have you, right? So, I'm a bean connoisseur, right? Like, it's good stuff.
So is it hard to see things through your monocle and also pick objects up with your white gloves on?
you're gonna stain those white gloves with bean juice,
It hasn't
dude.
been a problem for me. But once again, I have the credentials, right? I know what I'm about. I know what beans are about. So
Alan's got creds.
For
Mhm.
beans.
Write it down.
You got mad bean cred.
I don't know, Amy. What would you say is the leading factor in terms of my beanology?
Well,
I don't know what term to use here.
How would she know?
I mean,
He's my sibling.
right.
Growing up, we ate a lot of beans in our household,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When we'd go camping, beans. When we had a holiday, beans.
Mm-hmm. Breakfast. beans.
Breakfast, beans.
Yeah.
Birthday,
That's
beans.
not true, but
yeah.
Going
I
for
wish
a
it was.
drive.
We just always ate a lot of beans.
Yeah.
Probably because it was cheap
Yeah.
and good. Nate and Matt, do you guys have a love for baked beans? Does it run deep? Or are you guys just along for the ride today?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I love baked beans, but I wouldn't say that I hate it either. Anytime that I'm having any type of Mexican food, I want those fried or baked beans, whatever the heck those are.
Refried?
Fried, refried.
Yeah,
maybe
refried,
thrice
liquid,
fried.
brown beans. I love them, and it's the best. I mean, I've never really gone out of my way to explore with baked beans, other than, I mean, I've had beans and chili, but that's different, I guess, so.
How about you, Matt?
I'm on board with beans. I think it's a solid side for some situations, but I wouldn't say I'm a bean fanatic.
Huh.
All right.
Just let that sit there. Matt is not a bean fanatic, while Alan has the creds for beans.
Mhm.
Are there any types of food that you really enjoy eating with your baked beans? Like, I know a lot of people really like barbecue type meals with their beans.
Yeah, barbecue, or I enjoy a good bean dish when at a potluck. There's a lot of good varieties out there.
Like classic pork and beans, got to have the bacon strips in there. I mean, add a little bit of sweetness, or like a honey smoked bacon mixed in with beans is good.
I really enjoy going out camping and being amongst the wilderness and
It's nature's candy.
Opening up a 40-pound
getting that
can of
campfire
beans.
going, get that campfire going, right? And just hearing the cracks and the pops of the fire, and putting
can
a
smell
pot
it.
on there and getting some beans going over the fire, right? And just that the fire itself adds a little bit of a smoky flavor to the beans, right? So it in itself is an entree, right? I like eating beans alone. I don't need to have some something in its orbit, right? It doesn't need to be in something else's orbit either, right?
This guy's a fucking bean nerd. Can we swear?
Okay, I just want to say one thing. Something that really augments the bean, right? is a Cooler Ranch Dorito, actually, like as a scoop, right? You get a
vessel.
Yeah, as a vessel to provide the bean to the gullet.
Exactly. Yep. Why waste spoons? Or,
Are you saying tap the can hot and just pour it down your throat? Is that what you're getting at? One touch?
Are we gonna try that today?
No.
No.
We did not bring the science that it would be required.
Yeah, that would be your job. You had to set that up. You got the creds. Come on, Bean Man.
Yeah, Dr. Allen's mean bean guillotine or whatever.
For a few years in a row, we were getting Alan the biggest can of beans we could find at Sam's Club for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And you would take those camping. Actually, I think for a while you were hauling it around in your backpack when you were riding your bike.
Just in case.
As a training measure. Yeah. Okay, so these
Alan's butthole is strong.
I eat the beans and I go eat the beans, go on a 40-mile bike ride. Really test the sphincter. Yeah. How long can you last?
Okay, true story.
Pedal assistance.
I took some ROTC courses. Did you expect this lead in here, right? I took some ROTC courses at undergrad, right? And part of that was physical training, and occasionally in the mornings there would be a ruck march, right? In which you would get a backpack, put 30 pounds of stuff in it, right? But I happen to have, on account of you and perhaps others, friends and whatnot, I happen to have 2 9-pound can of beans in my truck, right? So we're still in credentials here. We're still in credentials here, right?
That's 18 pounds of beans.
Yeah.
Just for you.
I did a 12-mile ruck, right? in 2
Uphill
hours.
both ways.
That involved 2 9-pound cans of beans, part of my setup, my gear, my kit, right? So if you're listening, I know my shit, okay? I know what beans are about.
Beans are not just a food. It's a way of life.
Off the bat, do you have a favorite baked bean? Like, what's the best baked bean you've ever had?
Oh. I opened that up like I was going to say something, but I don't actually have a favorite baked bean.
The bean that got away.
The bean that got away is my favorite. I hope we don't lose any beans today.
The only one that I can really remember is a time I had a can of Bush's and it was good. Maybe it was like Firehouse beans, Steakhouse or something like that, or maybe like brown sugar bourbon.
Yeah, brown sugar
That's
bourbon.
probably
the last
is
time.
That the purple label?
I don't know.
Come on, Bean Master.
Yeah,
you should
don't know.
this.
You should know what label this is. The brand.
Part of my process is like, this is one of those, I see the image of the purple, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's a good can right there.
Oh yeah, the purple's the color of royalty, so you know it's a good bean.
Yeah.
Alan, favorite bean?
Yeah, the humble like Bush can of Bush beans with
Humble.
It's,
Like the original?
the OG
onion.
Bush
I like
baked
the onion.
beans.
Okay.
Onion in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that might be green label.
I think that is a green label.
Okay.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah, onion's great. Dad always used, he always got the onion.
For
The
camping.
green label beans, right, for camping.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good memory. That's a good thing to draw upon whilst enjoying other beans.
Alan, since you're a bean expert, what is the ideal temperature to eat beans at?
It's by intuition. There's an intuition there. I don't have a fucking thermometer in which I stick into the
So it's all you're
So
a
you
touchy
measure
feely
by
guy.
By tongue, like
If it burns,
just
you
like,
don't eat it.
I have the intuition where I can look at the pot of beans, right, and I can see that there's perhaps a little roll in terms of
Like the
it's
liquid
getting hot
boiling
enough.
over, or-
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a bit of a roll going on, and you let that happen for a good 5 to 7 minutes, right? And when that roll is looking good, you make sure you get it off there so the beans don't stick to the bottom of the pan.
How
right?
long do you cool? Like, do you do an ice bath afterwards?
It depends on how much I want the beans. At that
quench the
point in
beans
time,
in blood, forge them in fire.
I feel like I'm on bean trial here, right?
You claim to be an expert, so I mean, I'm gonna drill you with questions.
Okay,
beans
That's good,
questions.
that's
So I mean, I gotta know. I'm really
that's
testing
fair.
you.
Your credentials were all computer related.
So,
And I know microchips are often like beans in some ways, but also often not like beans.
in most ways.
Yeah. What are the semiconductor properties of a bean? And now back to the history.
So the history of the baked bean.
Oh, yes.
The true origin of the baked bean is not really known. However, the most widely held theory is that baked beans are Native American cuisine. Beans were baked in earthenware pots with maple syrup, sometimes with different meats such as venison. Baked beans, as we know them, fresh from the can, are made with navy beans, which was the same type of beans in the indigenous American recipes. Different areas of the world and the United States vary on how they prepare their beans. However, the area that people in the States tend to associate with beans is Boston, Massachusetts, or Beantown. Boston baked beans are made with molasses for a rich caramel sweet dish, often with pork and sometimes onion added. Boston was actually an epicenter of rum production, and the byproduct of molasses was plentiful in the area. I found this interesting side story about Boston and molasses. On January 15th, 1919, a giant tank of molasses burst open in Boston's North End, and more than 2 million gallons poured out like a tsunami wave, reaching speeds of up to 35 miles per hour.
Molasses?
This is molasses.
That's fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Molasses is faster than expected. Noted.
It flooded the streets, crushed buildings, and ultimately killed 21 people and injured 150 more.
I'm sorry for laughing, but why haven't we learned about the day? Where's that news report?
That's
what you
crazy.
don't know about molasses that could kill you.
Can travel up to 35 miles per hour.
All known analogies have been wrong.
The mass production of tinned baked beans happened in 1895 by the H.J. Heinz Company. These were produced in Pittsburgh. Today, Heinz beans are made in the world's largest baked bean factory located in Wigan, England. The beans are imported from the United States and are made using haricot beans, which I think is another name for navy beans. They are then rehydrated in the factory. They are canned, and spices and tomato sauce is added to the can. Then the cans are sealed. At this point, the beans and the sauce are steamed in the sealed can, which is a process that takes about 2 hours to complete. And that's how they get the baked beans. More than 3 million cans are produced each day and around 1 billion cans every year. Heinz sells over 2.5 million cans in the UK every day. So from what I could find, Great Britain consumes the most baked beans, followed by Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Ireland. And I don't even think the United States hit the top 10. Today, we have 7 beans we are trying out. We have Bush's Original, VanCamp's Pork and Beans, Ranch Style Brand Beans, HyVee Pork and Beans. For those of you not from the Midwest, HyVee is one of our grocery chains. Serious Bean Company Southern Mustard Barbecue Beans, Serious Bean Company Sweet and a Bit Sassy Dr. Pepper Baked Beans, and
Whoa.
Sassy.
B&M Original Baked Beans.
What were those letters again?
B&M Original Baked Beans.
Yeah, like who thought that was? I mean, it's genius actually. Putting B.
Bartles and
on a
Masterson
bean
is
can.
what it stands for. You grow up, sir. I don't know what it stands for, actually.
Movement.
Dude.
So out of all those flavors we're trying out, does anyone want to guess which one their favorite will be? Or have you eaten, Alan, which ones of these have you not eaten?
That's a better
Can I see
question.
the list again here?
Yes.
At the bottom here. Okay.
So I've never had the Dr. Pepper baked beans, but I'm morbidly curious about it.
Right. Yeah.
Morbidly.
Morbidly.
I haven't had the Southern Mustard Q BBQ beans, and I haven't had the Dr. Pepper ones or the HyVee ones, right? And what was your ultimate question here? Like, are we making predictions?
Which ones have you
Yeah,
not
which
had?
one are you super excited about? Like, do you think you're going to have a favorite?
The mustard and BBQ ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Huh.
I have, I think I've eaten Bush's baked beans, because who hasn't? I feel like when we were kids, my grandma had VanCamps always.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Good. That wasn't
correct.
okay.
Everyone, that is correct.
And then I've had the serious bean ones, but I haven't had any others. Matt.
The one I'm most excited to try is the ranch style ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm hoping that I will somehow magically become a cowboy after eating them.
I am excited to try those too.
For the same reasons, yeah.
I have belt buckles on standby. I'm so excited.
You got the boots with the spurs.
No, I didn't want to invest in Spurs yet.
That's fair.
Anybody think they know what their least favorite's going to be?
Probably HyVee brand.
Yeah, that's what it is right there.
Mhm.
I
HyVee
mean,
brand.
some
Yeah.
off-brands are great, but I mean, off-brand baked beans does not sound appealing.
I have a feeling it's beans and ketchup is what it is.
Well, most beans now are with tomato sauce instead of molasses.
Yeah, due to the dangers of molasses.
Can travel up to 35 miles per hour, I hear.
Well,
Creep
I
up
am
with you on a
going
cold
to
day.
go get our first batch of beans.
And now for a quick ad break.
Do you have any bean music? Bean waiting music?
Bean, 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 bean. Bean, 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 bean.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in that intro music.
Bean!
Bean! In your face!
Yeah. Bean.
The magical fruit. Oops.
Bean.
The magical fruit.
Yes. It'll make you toot. This magical fruit. Bean.
Test out your butthole fortitude.
With beans. Oh no. Oh no.
Beans.
Beans.
Whoa. Is he starting the loop over? Oh, it was
Welcome
done.
back to Quest for the Best.
Well timed.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
We came up with a bean song while you were gone.
Okay.
So keep in mind when we try these beans, you aren't just going for taste. Go for the appearance, the smell, the texture in your mouth to make your decision. And, of course, the taste.
Remember, beans are an art.
So appearance, texture, Flavor Town.
Flavor Town.
Are these beans gonna take us to Flavor Town? Like, is this
Won't you take me to?
Flavor Town?
The first bean we are trying today is the VanCamp's pork and beans and tomato
hold on.
sauce.
Van
It's got that
Camps.
muted color to it that VanCamps typically do.
That might just be. Oh, Van Camps typically have this. Are you sure it's not just the ambient light here?
No,
Oh.
they're VanCamps beans are lighter than
Yeah, they're more
Bush's.
pale
Okay.
and
Yeah,
more
yeah.
orange. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chow down.
You know, after a quick little sniff here, I can definitely say that this smells like baked beans.
That's a good sign. It's a good texture of bean, I think.
No, there just really isn't much to it. There's just like, yep, that's a bean. There's no flavor in that juice. It's is that typical for Van Camps there, bean expert Alan? Oh, he's way into the beans right now. He's away from Mike.
I'm really processing bean here, right? I'm noting that this bean juice isn't as saucy as I recall.
Yeah,
It's a very
definitely
loose-
taking a hit for that.
Yeah.
That's like watery.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to drink my beans. Just want to chow down.
Have you really actually thought about that statement though?
drinking beans?
Yeah, you said you don't want to drink beans,
But I am.
I feel like
I feel like you haven't given this enough time to really mull over. To make that claim
feel
is
like-
pretty bold.
I feel like it should be VanCamp's Aqua Beans is what the product name should be.
I really feel like since there's really no flavor at all that
There's
I
none.
am noticing in the sauce, the actual pure bean is supposed to be the star here. Like you can really taste the actual
Yeah.
bean, but
It's not a dish that I would eat by itself.
No.
I'd have to have something like I need This is desperately in need of some spices or salt or a little bit of pepper. It is this is a very boring bean.
I like the word Amy used, and that is the purity involved, right? There is a pureness to these VanCamp beans. I think I used the term humble earlier, right? This is very humble.
This is a humble bean.
I thought you used that for bushes, though.
How many humble beans are there?
Maybe I'm biased by the nostalgia of going to Grandma and Grandpa's house in earlier years and enjoying a nice can of VanCamp beans, right?
Wow, was that a black tie affair? There's a candlelight. Alan,
yes, I'm
please
here
come
to-
over and enjoy a dish of beans.
Oh,
You're reading too, I don't like where that's going. You know?
Easy there. You're flinging beans.
All right. Does anybody need some more time with this bean?
No, I'm kind of over
Hey,
this.
Moving on.
Oh, you guys aren't eating all your beans?
No, you don't have to eat it all if you don't want to.
I'm.
Alan, you look totally insulted right now.
Yeah. Like, you haven't finished your freaking beans.
Well, I might want a little bit more after I try this one so I can
That's a
compare.
good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah,
I
right?
feel like this is a good palate cleansing bean.
That's true.
Oh.
I ate all my.
Well, I mean, you just
Matt didn't eat all of his, and he's not sick.
You might have to pour me some bean later.
The next bean we are trying is the Bush's baked beans.
Now this is a bean to me. Like it's got a dark brown color in it. It looks like it's thick. It's not very I'm happy just looking at this, and it smells a lot better than the other.
It smells
one.
delicious.
It smells real good.
It exerts extra pressure on the container here, right? Like,
Yeah, the container is
Yep.
working hard to keep this bean flavor in.
I feel like it has a nice brown sugar smell to it.
It's very sweet. Kind of they're kind of like tipping their hat towards the old ways of bean production with molasses with the brown sugar
Yeah.
here. So it's Bush's is going for the old family. I mean, it is an old family recipe.
just say what it is. It's old magic.
It's old magic. Don't talk to me about the old magic's witch. I was there when it was crafted.
That's a good bean.
Yeah, this is easily 2 points over VanCamp.
Oh, even the mouthfeel is a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good bean.
I don't know. The sauce in the VanCamp's one was just there. This is a compliment to the bean, and it really helps bring out all the flavors. I still taste the bean, but it gets all that flavor in there.
It's just to kind of bounce off of that, the VanCamps, it's like those beans are just living in an apartment. They're renting that space, so they don't really get along. That landlord sauce is not really there for the bean.
mm-hmm.
Now Bush is here, and this sauce and this bean, these guys, they've been together since high school. They're high school sweethearts. They love each other. They know each other in and out. This is a great pairing between sauce and bean.
I'm going to disagree with you on one point. And that's, I wouldn't refer to what the VanCamps is in as a sauce. I'm saying that is like beige water.
Well, it reminds me of like when you actually were to open up, like, say, a can of kidney beans, for example, you would drain it. And I feel like they just didn't drain their beans.
But are you supposed to drain the juice out of the baked bean? Because what
No,
are the
but
beans going to bake in?
That's my whole point. The baked bean, the bean of the VanCamp ones feels like it should have just been drained because the sauce adds nothing.
You're
That'll
going
just
back
keep
for
on
more,
giving.
I see.
Oh, I'm going to
See-
finish this one. This is
Okay.
great.
I don't mean to just completely rag on this VanCamps one, but I went back and took a bite, and all it tastes like is just the plain bean with like some juice around it.
That's a good call. Now that I know what baked beans should be. I mean, we have 5 more
Don't
to go
back.
through.
It's not worth it.
I gotta know. Like the VanCamps, it's like when I eat the bean, it feels like I'm chewing on a little bit of sand. It's so grainy, and it just doesn't.
That's the
feel
silica
good in
oxide,
there.
the stuff that's in those packets that say "do not eat."
Oh, right. So they tried to absorb some of the liquid, but they couldn't. So it just baked into the bean.
I didn't notice that graininess until you said it. But
There's
yeah,
a
it does have
graininess
a
in the
little
VanCamps.
graininess. Yeah.
Like, this is your child. This is what you love.
You know, nostalgia, right? Rose tinted glasses, right? Is the
Oh, sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
that's
going to the
surely-
beach and rubbing sand in my eyes. That great memories.
Yeah.
That's what it.
Would,
that's
would
what
you say
eating
it's a
VanCamps.
grittiness enough that ninjas could use that in a pinch if they didn't have the glass shards?
Yeah, instead of pocket sand, it's just VanCamp's baked beans. Yeah.
Are there any
Ninja
last thoughts here about the Bush's baked beans?
It's great.
I enjoyed that bean.
Yeah, I need to
it's a good
know.
bean.
I need to get like a third one to locate here what my scoring's going to be though, because
Yeah, I feel like we're
Like,
at both ends of
the
the spectrum
Bushes
here.
could be so good just because the VanCamps was.
So bad.
Let's be honest, it existed.
Yeah, it exists.
I think I'm ready for the next bean.
I say let's toot along.
So the next bean we are trying are the Dr. Pepper beans.
Oh, okay. You can smell the Dr. Pepper in this.
Oh, good.
It is potent pepper, like Dr. Pepper.
You
smell.
can kind of.
I think it's strong on the cherry side for Dr. Pepper though.
Yeah.
It's,
It kind of has that grenadine smell.
mhm. Now,
I'm
like,
not looking forward to these though.
these, they're a little bit darker than the Bushes, and I don't really know how I feel about that. I kind of like that medium brown color
Yeah.
for a bean.
It's not as warm, right?
Yeah,
It's not as warm.
This
as
is
You
just
want
like,
a healthy medium brown.
Come eat me. Dr. Pepper beans.
See, my initial thoughts on my first bite is I didn't mind it. Like I kind of enjoyed that first bite, but I cannot see myself eating much more.
Yeah,
This is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever tasted.
I've had enough of those.
I really don't know. This feels like a disgrace to beans.
Yeah,
I want to just. Can you just bring down the Bushes can?
They kind of have a weird little spice to it too. You notice that? There's a little spice on the tongue.
Oh yeah, that's the Dr. Pepper flavor. Dr. Pepper's made with 9 secret spices
Yeah.
and herbs. Oh, that's KFC. Never mind.
Actually, I think isn't it 23 or something
It's 20,
flavors?
yeah.
And the thing I would point out is that every bean that we have was in the oven for the same amount of initial time. So the first two we had were in the same amount of time. These were in longer, but they're a harder bean. Like I feel like it didn't.
It is a
Texture
thicker. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it just really feels like I'm eating Dr. Pepper pills, like gel caps.
Have you had Dr. Pepper pills often?
Well, I mean, if Dr. Pepper were in a pill form, it'd be this bean.
Gotcha.
That's such a profound statement.
Big pharma, big beans, Dr. Pepper.
Does anybody have any other thoughts on this bean?
I feel like it's trying to be like the flavor is trying to be like a ranch southwestern style sort of flavor, but it's not quite there. It's like that emerged between that sort of flavor that you're probably thinking of and like candy, right?
I definitely get the candy bit.
Yeah.
It's a really sweet thing, but ranch, Southwest
Yeah, it's a
ranch.
it's an
I don't know if
undertone that hits late.
ranch brand, I guess.
Oh, sure.
Right,
Okay.
right. Not like the ranch dressing or whatever.
Sure.
right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So like a Southwest spice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I follow that. Yeah.
I'd say that's an undertone. Though.
This would probably. Wow, no, it's such a bummer. What could make it better, other than just throwing it away?
Pulling back some of that cherry sweetness for sure, because I think that hits too hard. I don't.
It's like caramel in there.
I don't want my beans to be candy unless they're Boston baked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, yeah, like the brown sugar or molasses adds a nice sweet taste without it tasting candy-like, which this does. Though the VanCamps are very bland, I could eat my entire portion. I could not eat my entire portion of the Dr. Pepper ones.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I just went back for a taste of the VanCamps, and it is. I just can't get over that grainy texture. It is. Dr. Pepper baked beans. I mean, they're fine, but not what I want my baked beans to taste like.
The next bean we are trying is the B&M bean. And off the bat, this is a dark bean.
It is a very dark bean. They just keep getting darker. I'm
looks
looking at
like
a
a-
rainbow of beans.
It looks like a B&M
It-
bean.
yeah, I don't think there's going to be much appearance change from eating it now and then seeing it later.
The smell is a little weird.
It's a very.
I just dropped
It looks
faint
like it's gonna
smell.
have so much flavor, and
Oh no.
I'm still waiting.
That's
or-
quite terrible, actually.
Yeah,
You know, I'm going through this, and I mean, I do like that the sauce isn't just like super watery. It looks like it's clinging to the bean there a little bit, and that's good. I like it when there's
Yeah.
liquids clinging to the bean.
And I thought VanCamps was gonna be the low.
This is fascinating. This is
I'm quite thrilled to. Yes.
this is like the texture is pretty mushy, right? Like after the you take
Once
a
you
bite
get in,
and
once you get into the bean.
yeah. So like the bean gives a little bit of resistance, then you get past the give, right? And it's kind of mushy past that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like you mentioned earlier, Matt, like there's very little flavor, but then you could just get hit with this smoky, like bitter. I don't know if bitter's the right term, like a smokiness, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely an aftertaste there,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
but it's not like a hickory smoked. It's like
It's just like
some painted wood in your yard caught fire burnt.
Yeah, or like you got the end of the hit when you're smoking weed. Like you got the very end
Drugs?
of the pipe, like, and you got all the
you got
ash.
that resin hit, that
Yeah.
resin flavor, and it kind of just tastes. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. This bean tastes like it's burnt, and it's definitely not burnt. It's like I don't know when they're canning it, they over steamed it or something. B&M, I think I know what they're trying to put in a can here, and we just ate some dookie.
The B&M stands for burnt and mache. So
Alan really did give an accurate assessment, though, and especially with that texture. Like it has the regular bean bite when you bite into it, but then it turns into mush.
It's like I could see this bean being very popular in retirement homes.
I'm not willing to write off the B&M yet, right?
Okay.
I do think this could be an acquired bean taste, right? Like,
you're still honing in on it.
yeah, like
I got to go back to the VanCamp every single time after it's my palate cleanser. And
I do feel like this B&M brand bean would go well in that campfire setting that I had previously given, right?
But why when you could eat something so much better?
so like going back to the VanCamps here, I feel like the flavor is very similar here. There's like the B&M has a more distinct kind of like robust
Burnt rubber.
burnt. Yep. But I do like that it's not grainy. I mean, I think these guys, the VanCamp and the B&M, are in the same league here of being the worst beans that we're going to eat today.
The next bean we are trying are the HyVee brand beans.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I might
What
be
is that?
surprised by what a HyVee is. Ooh.
Careful, it was hard to get them out of the...
This. Now, I thought VanCamps was a wet bean. This thing is swimming.
I have to say,
This is in the deep end here. Like,
when I opened this can of beans, I was not impressed. I had to do some serious stirring. This is a very watery bean. It's a very similar color to the VanCamps.
this is a slightly dark. Yeah, it's a
I
light
think it's
pale
slightly
brown,
darker.
but
Oh no.
Doesn't smell as sweet.
this, oh man. No, we were kind of talking about it earlier, and I don't know if it's because we talked about it earlier and it's in my head, but this smells like popcorn.
Shut your
Is that just me?
mouth.
It
Yeah.
No, it
does?
doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not.
It smells like popcorn.
Like a burnt popcorn.
Yeah,
right?
like it's been in the microwave for about a minute and a half too long. It's over popped.
Amy.
The kernels are starting to blacken. Amy, I know you like popcorn, and
I
I'm
do.
sorry for putting this smell
You pretty much
at you.
I hate you now.
Give that bean a smell.
Smell the bean. Give it a sniff. Beans.
It does. I agree.
You smell the
Yeah,
popcorn?
I smell the popcorn.
This turned into a murder podcast.
It's going to if Nate keeps comparing it to popcorn.
The smell. It's popcorn.
These are also not great. They kind of taste bitter at the end.
Okay, this is. I don't know how to like articulate this here, right? Sometimes you have coffee, right? And the coffee is sort of a lighter roast, and it has that fruity, like this is. One would say that coffee has a beany flavor to it, right?
No, coffee beans, yeah.
Yeah. I have that sort of vibe from that sort of taste. I'm picking up a sense of that like fruity bean flavor associated with coffee, right? At the end there. So
Kind
perhaps
of like
Nate,
just that bitter bite in
Yeah,
the bean there, like you're drinking a Daybreak coffee from Caribou,
right?
our new sponsor.
Beans brought to you by coffee.
It's just, I mean, there is that bitter aftertaste.
It really sticks with you too.
It doesn't really, yeah. I don't know if I get the coffee. I don't know if I follow that with you, but this is the more I stir it, I do like that the liquid does seem like it's thicker. It's like the liquid settle. If you don't constantly play with this bean, the liquid is gonna settle, and you're gonna have soup instead of baked beans.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that's way too much work to put into eating beans if you're constantly stirring it to get a good
bite. There should be
bite.
an expected level of convenience whilst eating beans, right? And that would definitely be a conflict to that, you know?
That's true. I mean, at least HyVee had flavor in it. I just went back to VanCamp, you know, and there's just nothing there. VanCamp has absolutely nothing to offer.
But I still think that that's better
I do
than the
too.
B&M and the HyVee.
I agree.
I think the VanCamp is better than HyVee brand.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on to our next bean?
Bean me, homie.
Bean me up.
Get some of that bean darkness.
Hold on,
I
let me
believe
get
this
that.
is the darkest bean we've seen.
No. Well, it's real close to B&M.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. This is the ranch style bean.
You can
This was
smell
the one
that.
that I was most excited for.
I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
this just being the plate is on the table a good foot away, and I had to pull the beans up to the nostrils to get a good sniff. I can. This is a potent bean.
What-
I can smell it right
Wasn't
now.
the can of it just like a white can with black block letters that said ranch style beans?
It was
or something
black,
like that? It was
black
just basic.
can with like basic letters.
So it sounds like this is a bean that knows exactly what it is. It doesn't need any
Yeah, this
fancy
isn't-
labels.
This
it's
isn't
like
an advertising company. This is a bean company.
this. I'm really excited about this. Color wise, I do. It's kind of leaning back into my preferred color for like that medium brown shade. So it smells great. I mean, it really smells like it's a bean that you don't really need to add anything to. It's just all the flavors right there.
The sauce structure is good as well.
Yeah.
It's a nice hearty sauce.
I will say that it's kind of claggy in my mouth. Kind of just sticks, you know. I don't care for that.
I kind of like that actually. It kind of complements the flavor. Like it holds this is a bean that, you know, it wants you to remember it. It wants you, when you think of baked beans, this bean wants you to think of it. So it's
me
gonna,
after I'm gone.
exactly, like you eat it and it's going to hold on to your taste buds for dear life until you wash it away with some other, like what the bean would say is filth. Because the bean needs to be there. It wants to live in your mouth.
Yeah. It needs to linger.
I feel like this would pair nicely with a bowl of rice.
Yeah. I could see that. Like the rice it would help distribute the flavor a little bit, and it wouldn't cling in your mouth as much. I mean, this is one like a little bit of taco shredded cheese. I think that would go great on it.
I think using like what are they? The Frito chips.
Oh yeah.
That,
Oh yeah.
as like a scoop. Yeah.
I think that would be good because I think what this is missing for sure is salt. I think it needs some salt.
Yeah, I do like this bean. It's bold. Right?
It's a bold bean.
It's unabashedly itself. You know.
You know, it's a bean that knows who it is, knows what it's here for, and it's not ashamed of anything.
Respect for this bean.
You got to respect the bean.
Yeah.
Respect the bean.
Respect the bean. I like that a lot. We need a
Yeah, there's your sound bite. Right here. Respect the bean. Respect your bean.
All right.
Respect your bean.
So even though I do appreciate this bean for what it is, I just can't see myself eating this on its own.
I don't
like
think that of any bean.
I don't like
Here
the
with my can in the dark, crying into a.
I don't like the clagginess of
Yeah.
it.
I don't understand what.
Like it's like
claggy-
sticking into my mouth. Like it just sticks in my mouth. You know.
between the teeth and
Yeah.
That's just the beans trying to hug you.
Yeah, you know, that's why after you eat it, then you like spend some time with your lips sealed and you're just kind of like sucking on your teeth, getting the rest of that flavor out. It's like seconds. It's built in
I'll
seconds.
pass on that. So, any other final thoughts on this bean before I go grab the last one?
Solid bean.
ranch style bean, I'd give it a solid rating of being a solid bean. That's a solid bean right there.
The next bean and the final bean we are trying today is the mustard bean.
I feel like we started Bush's was a strong second one, but we're really like increasing the amount of flavor in the bean as we go on through this bean listing.
This bean trek.
Now, this is another bean that has a very strong scent to it, and I appreciate that about the beans. Is like, I know
You appreciate a good bean aroma?
I love a good bean aroma. Like, if they could turn this into a candle, I would burn it, as one would do with candles.
Just add a wick.
Just add a wick,
That's
yeah.
what a candle is, a bean.
Just gonna burn the beans.
The bean size on these are some big old beans.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Might be the biggest bean that we've are trying today. Now there's not much sauce with this, or there it is, all the way. It's a
Smoky.
thick
It
sauce.
might have cooked down a bit because
This was the last one. It's a smoky smell, like a good smoky smell, not like that B&M one.
Firm bean right here.
You really get that kick of mustard initially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, and it's got a nice little spice to it.
The beans got kick.
Yeah, it's got that real nice. I really like the mixture of barbecue and mustard flavor with this. It's a good combo.
Meh.
I wish I had a fart, right? That would have been the perfect time.
I feel like
We can get sound clips from the internet.
Okay.
We're gonna pepper them in throughout the entire episode. More and more.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
We're gonna do it exponentially.
It's like
Louder.
Blazing Saddles, right?
No, frequency is gonna go exponential.
This would pair nicely with a brat.
Oh yeah, you could do. You
Yeah,
could
like
almost make a
sweet-
chili
like
dog
or a
with
maple
this.
brat. I'm thinking something sweet to counter off of this heat.
That is that's a good point. I do really like this barbecue mustard, but the Southwest Ranch feels to me like it was just so much better in flavor wise. The barbecue and mustard, it's like that's the flavor. That's what you're getting.
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
too aggressive.
It's yeah. I mean,
like
it's a
hold
bean
on
that's not
flavor.
here to. It's not messing around here. It's gonna hit you in the face with that flavor, and I think it might be hitting a little too hard.
Yeah, I want it to buy me dinner first. Right?
At least, yeah. This is just taking
don't
you
want
out.
it to go to town on my mouth.
It's you were taken into the alley by the dumpster with this bean. It's just pounding you
well,
with that
I mean,
flavor.
they do tell you on the can that it is a serious bean company, though. So maybe we're just too soft core for a hardcore bean. you
That's
know?
that might.
I give you quote of the day.
Well, as someone who has been hardened by bean,
What is that? Raised by beans in the forest.
someone who's experienced with bean, right? I'm not violated by these beans here, right? I think they're fine.
Did the beans sign a consent form? What are you getting at with violated?
Like they're not too strong, right? They just
Okay, I gotcha.
yeah. Like I'm not affronted by these beans.
What
you
you're
know?
saying is your mouth parts are more accepting.
I had to go to the dentist after that bean.
See, I'm with Alan. This bean did not offend me. I
Yeah.
think it had a nice mix of all the spices.
Yeah.
I really got that mustard straight off the bat, and then it followed up with a little kick.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was a good bean. The thing I would change about it is I would make it a smaller bean. And then the texture, if it was more like the bushes,
Yeah.
that would be better.
A smaller bean is woman's words.
Venus.
What?
I just
Yeah.
wanted to say that. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
Amy's
But,
eating beans. We're all
in the
eating
interest of
Venuses.
accuracy, I just want to note that I don't think anyone was offended by the flavor, so I'm not sure why that word choice is being used. I was
Oh
just
no,
saying
I thought it was
a
aggressive.
little aggressive. Like
Mhm.
I'm not saying it was too aggressive, but if it were to be rolled back, it would be better.
So if there were of all these beans that are before us, if you were to
Blessed Father,
Bless me, for I have beaned.
who have bringeth on this 7th day 7 beans of the 7th son.
I like this. I like this a lot.
You know, I'll get into it later.
So like, if I were going to eat beans, as I often do, right? As I often do, just alone,
given A, like
without
B and C, right?
without any main entree or whatever, right? Like they are the main entree. I would have the mustard and BBQ beans, right? They hold their own. They hold their own.
So let me ask you this: you were excited the most about that bean. Did it let you down, or
absolutely not?
Okay.
I am.
You're here.
You're a kid on a trolley in Beantown right now. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Molasses be damned.
Or like that girl on the Titanic that was flying with Jack.
I am that girl.
You're on top of the world, man.
Yeah.
On top of the bean world.
There we go. There's a whole podcast right there. Alan and Bean World. And it's like
my name is Alan. Welcome to Bean World.
It's like a virtual space where he puts these goggles on and becomes a superhero.
I really feel like this
fights
is
crime.
This could be a good children's book or a little animated series. Alan in Beantown.
Oh, Bean World.
Oh, Bean World.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
Bean
gotta
World.
be
Bean World.
Well,
Alan saves the day.
Beantown is
or
too
something.
small for Alan.
Well,
it's the
Beantown's
first one.
Massachusetts.
Beantown is the first book, right? The first kids book or what have you, right? Then we scale it up to
Bean Universe.
And then the beans got to strike back at some
Bean
point.
Multiverse. What is this, like Bender's Game?
So we're gonna back up here, and I'm gonna get some ratings from you guys. So first we had VanCamps. Okay.
So VanCamps, I'm going to give a 3.
Okay.
That's a watery bean. I'd be fine if I never ate that again. I would eat that if someone offered me, but maybe just a couple bites or so, just a little on the plate.
I think I would agree with Matt here. I think it's right at a 3.
I'm usually right about everything, so
Nice.
I also agree with myself.
Nate, what are you giving VanCamps?
No, this is a really weird bean for me because I started off hating it, and then I kept going back to it to cleanse the palate, and I kept running into the same issues.
got
It's
bean
grainy.
washed.
It's just it's kind of growing on me now that it's cooler. Like now that it's cool, the bean doesn't fall apart and get as grainy in my mouth. It's just a mush, and that's kind of what's nice about beans is that it turned to mush.
I love bean
But
mush.
that being said, I'm gonna stick with my initial rating. I'm also gonna go with a 3 out of 10 on this.
Bend to our will, Nate.
And
That's 3 3s.
I just didn't want to be different.
from the bean experts, Alan.
Hold on, he's reviewing his notes.
3.78.
So yeah, what Alan's doing, he's got a rating for appearance, texture, and appearance, texture, flavor, and smell. So he's finding the average of all 3. So he's just over there doing some quick math, and that's.
Why are you even multiplying by pi?
I think he's developed
This is a bean show.
he's developed a computer program about beans.
It's steam powered.
How'd you know that? That's
You're my brother.
okay. So I have a tier ranking right now, right? And so I don't have numbers associated with them. I got tier 0, so like beans that I wouldn't even consider buying, right? And Dr. Pepper is within the Dr. Pepper flavored beans are within that tier, right? And they're the only beans of what we've tried today that are on this tier, right? Then I have tier 1, right? And tier 1 is sort of straddles the threshold of like if I see it on the shelf, and if it's the only thing on the shelf, right? Like I'll buy it, right? I'll eat those beans.
Well, let's face it, you're buying any bean. If there's only, one option left, you would.
If there was only one option left and it was Dr. Pepper flavored beans, I wouldn't get them.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about
you really
VanCamps
like
though?
them.
Like going through the list one at a time. Where did VanCamps land on your tier?
Well, VanCamps is in tier 1.
Okay.
Right, and it is above the HyVee and above the B&M.
But if you had to give it a number out of 10,
I need numbers, not tiers.
I want to give them a 5.5.
You can't do points.
Oh, here we
There's
go.
no
breaking
points.
the rules
Gotta
again.
make your
This
round
guy
rule here.
You gotta round
walking
it.
into this podcast. I'm the bean expert. Here's my 0.5.
I work for a laboratory, and the rule in that instance would be to round up.
I'm going to round down.
A 5.
I'm going to go to a 5.
Stand down.
Right.
So I feel like
VanCamp
6 is
is a
giving
5.
VanCamps a little too much.
That's
right?
interesting.
Yeah.
So bushes.
Bushes. I'm gonna give that 5. It's nice. It's solid. I'm just not a huge fan of beans, so I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of high scores out.
I'm going to give a 7.
As you should. For me, because it was so much better than VanCamp's, I landed on a 7 with it. But that Bush's baked beans is what a baked bean should taste like, just by itself.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna if you want to have a good time with a baked bean, get Bush's.
It's a better than average bean.
It's a yes.
And unfortunately, that definition for me is a 5.
That's fair. I mean, that's middle ground. I mean, I think that's that's good. I agree with that. It's a good bean.
Yeah, I think all of what Nate has said is true, right? I'm going to scale it up to an 8 as opposed to a
That's
7.
fair.
Yeah,
I mean, you're a big bean connoisseur, so that makes
yeah,
sense.
It does make sense.
Have you ever had a
authority
10?
here?
Have you ever had anything you'd consider a 10? Maybe not today.
I don't know.
Maybe not 3
The
years
perfect
ago,
bean?
but maybe
You're
like
asking if the perfect
Oh,
bean.
God.
maybe
A
like
perfect
maybe when you
bean?
were 7, you wandered into some ethnic shop and some guy was like, "Yeah, come here."
Have you ever experienced bean heaven, Alan?
I hope to end up in bean heaven, right?
I believe that's Mexico. Actually,
I have reached various states of being nirvana, though.
Okay.
Right?
I have become one
you
with
have achieved,
bean.
You have achieved bean bliss before.
Yes, absolutely.
I am the bean. Be the bean. Be the bean.
All right.
He is we are, whatever that Beatles song is. I am the bean man. I don't know.
Cuckoo,
Cuckoo. So on to the Dr. Pepper bean. The Dr. Pepper, I think I'm also going to give a 3.
Yeah, it's too sweet, too much cherry flavor. There's not that much cherry in the Dr. Pepper, in my opinion. So it hits a bit different. And yeah, you're right with that little low heat that's in that bean.
Mm-hmm.
It's got conflicting arguments going for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Dr. Pepper at a 4.
This bean is a bummer.
It is a bummer bean.
Eating it when it was warm, I was kind of upset with it because it just kind of felt like it was taffy and kind of the sugar was sticking to my mouth.
I think it's because
Eating it as it's cold, I feel like I'm just. Let's say you had a Dr. Pepper and you left it out in the sun and just let the can dry a little bit, and sometimes when liquid dries out, you get like that little flakiness of the liquid with this. I'm sure that's a thing, but I feel like I'm just scraping the inside of a Dr. Pepper can, trying to get some type of Dr. Pepper flavor, and then just adding beans to it.
like Dr. Pepper resin.
It's I'm eating Dr. Pepper resin, and for that, I'm gonna give this Dr. Pepper bean a 2.
You're stealing all my thunder here, Nate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know what I can add to that. You ranked the Bush baked bean 7. I went up to an 8. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're the opposite here. I think the Dr. Pepper bean is a 1. Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely bottom of the scale. Right. Yikes.
I bet I could make worse.
I believe that. I mean, I was really holding out hope that this would surprise me, but I just
You mean surprised in a positive sense?
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
the
just bummed
idea
out.
is interesting. Like I think that's where they get you, but then for whatever
Execution.
reason, it's just overly sweet.
It's just Dr. Pepper slapping their name on something for branding. This is something that heavily relies on marketing, and it's just not a good product.
So
Get serious bean company.
So next we had the B&M bean. Alan, B&M, what do you got there?
Like I sort of leaned into when we were trying the B&M bean, is that I believe it could be an acquired taste, right? I did appreciate some of the smokiness involved with the flavoring, right? And it does have a place in time. This bean does have a place in time, right? So I'm not so willing to give it a 1. I'm going to give this bean a 4. I think it has a chance to grow, right? Yeah.
I will give a 1. I think it's awful. Ugh.
Oh yeah, that was a 2.
Nate?
That is really interesting. Like Alan and I are on the same bean wavelength here,
Yeah.
so we're right in that bean wave together.
Your bean buddies.
We're bean buddies.
You guys can have all of the B&M
Yeah.
you would like.
Alan and I are buddies. Always have, always will be. Nah, I fucked that up. it's there. Just edit it and post and flip it around. It'll be like bean friends post forever. B&M, like I said it earlier, this is a great retirement home bean right there. It's not something that's people are going to be able to wash it out of their dentures pretty easily. It's super mushy. They don't need teeth. It's just right down the gullet. Flavor wise, there's a little bit of bean flavor there. I don't know. It's a dark bean. I don't really like the dark beans, I guess, but yeah, it was a lot better than the Dr. Pepper and the VanCamps. But so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Why don't you like the dark beans? Man?
I don't. It's just something.
Something about beans out in the sun too long.
These dang dark beans. I don't really have a follow up as to why I don't. I don't know. It might be a flavor thing, but it's just isn't doing it for me.
So for HyVee, I'm going to go right off and say this is also a 1 for me. The bitter aftertaste was just terrible.
I'm going to give it a 2.
I think if we had shredded cheese and, covered up the flavor entirely, it would be a good baked bean.
Turn it into
It would
cheese.
still be a 1.
Oh, you hate cheese.
Ooh.
Alan gives HyVee a...
I give this one a 2. Yeah, I don't know if I can elaborate further on that. Right? It's just unremarkable.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm split between a 2 and a 3, but I'm gonna say a 2. I would rather have VanCamps. Right? It's competing in the same space as VanCamps is, and VanCamps, in my opinion, is just a bit better. Yeah,
That's
Good assessment there.
for HyVee, it started off real bad. You told me that you opened up the can and you really had to work it just to get the beans and the juice to get along with each other. Now, after it's been baked and kind of sitting down, some of the juices have soaked into the beans here. Warm, not great. As it's cooling down and at room temperature now, it's a lot better. So I'm wondering, like with potatoes, you do a twice baked bean, and HyVee might be the brand for that. So,
wow. I've never considered this before. Twice baked beans.
Twice baked beans. I think
Holy shit.
HyVee would open up your eyes to that.
Yeah.
I think they have
Well,
something there, but you just have to work
technically-
harder for it.
Yeah.
Technically, they really already are twice baked in the can.
Yeah, didn't
and
you listen to
then
the history?
In the oven.
I was too
So,
anxious. I was ready to eat beans, and I was not listening.
maybe a thrice baked bean.
A thrice baked bean. But with that, I'm going to give it 2 rankings. So just off of how we ate it here, I'm going to give it a 3,
Which is the one that counts.
which is the one that counts. Yes, but with the potential of it being thrice baked, this could be a 5.
Okay. So next we had the ranch style baked bean. I gave that one a 5, right in the middle of the road, and I did not get a rating from Matt. So what were your thoughts, Matt?
I think this was the best one for me. And if I remember correctly, 5 was the highest score I gave before. It puts it as a 6. It is slightly better than the Bush is. I think it's really going to boil down to the pairing between those two, like what it's being served with for me to have a preference over the other. But there would be some overlap in some situations, like Bush's would overtake the ranch style. But as a standalone product, ranch style all the way.
I loved this bean. I'll say it. This was probably the best bean that we had today. We kind of talked about it this could go great on a brat. You get a big old taco salad, throw this can right on there after being baked. The flavor by itself is just so nice. It's nothing's abrasive about it. I'm trying to find the word. I'm just so happy with this bean. I want to compliment it with every word that I can think of, but I'm at a loss for words because of how good it is. It is a solid 10 out of 10 for me.
So
this is the bean of
wow.
choice.
Wow. What you're saying is if you saw this bean on the street and maybe it had,
I
ran
will
into
take it
some,
home.
Yeah,
I'll give it
some
a
hard
home.
knocks, you would clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Get
It's a bean that
and
deserves a second chance.
It's like your pretty woman of beans.
It is my. It's a 10.
Really makes me question your sanity, Nate.
How about you, Alan?
It's a perfect bean.
What do you think, Alan?
I think you're being a little too frivolous hitting things 10s, Nate. Like, that's a really bold claim to make that this is the perfect bean.
I mean,
it's great. I mean, the sauce, the mixture was amazing.
I
the
believe-
bean consistency, the mushiness was there. It wasn't like too grainy. It was the perfect amount of squish when you bit into it. I mean, you got a little bit of that Southwest ranch kind of coming out of the bean when you squished it in the mouth, and it's like, what more could you ask for?
Nate, all I can say is that you're gonna feel like a fucking idiot, right? You're gonna feel like a fucking idiot when you bite into some bean from some other flavor of bean some other time in the future, right? And you're like, holy shit, this is the 10 out of 10, right? This is it. You're gonna feel like a fucking idiot. You're gonna look back at this time. You're gonna look back at this time. You're like, God damn, I was a fool. I don't know how you can give. That's too frivolous. That is too
Absolutely not. I mean, the 10 space has enough room for multiple bean cans. I mean, just the Southwest Ranch is the first one to take that spot on the shelf there.
so what would you give it, Alan?
Well, even more insulting than what Nate's doing here. Like, I give this one a 7, right? I don't know how you can give.
You're
something
a
that
fool.
is.
You are a goddamn
We're
fool.
no longer on the same. We're no longer on the same bean wavelength right now.
No, dude. I'm going to better and greater pastures while you're just living in ignorance of bean flavors.
house of beans.
Yeah. This is the best bean that
Bean
I've ever
paradise.
had.
You're just wallowing in bean.
You know, I'm going to go
regret
take
here.
a swim in this Southwest Ranch and have a great time while you can be over there eating your sad little VanCamp.
You are the Scrooge McDuck of ranch style beans.
And finally, the mustard bean, I gave a 6. Matt, what do you give that one?
I'm going to give that a 5. That's kind of right there with the bushes. It's going to be a situational use for me as well. Probably a barbecue, probably like a sweet pork type barbecue with those beans.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I have to say about that. Maybe a little too intense of a flavor, like I said, aggressive. But yeah.
Let's hear what Alan has to say.
This is a 9. These are 9s
Really?
right here. Yeah.
Hold on. I don't
And he calls
understand.
me the fool.
I don't understand that word you used, 9. Do you mean niner?
This is a 9er, 10-4, big buddy, Roger Dodger, right? This is a good old 9. Like I said earlier, these I would have no problem just eating as their own entree, right? And they're just delightful. They're delightful. That's
Kind of a playful bean.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think I agree with that. This is a good first date bean. Like when you're trying, like after a bad breakup with VanCamps, you're going out there, you're in search for a new bean. This is an in-betweener bean. You know, this is a buffer the next like long-term relationship. You don't want to spend that much time with this bean here. I think that it's a little too aggressive with the flavor. The beans are huge, a little bit too firm for my taste. Like I don't want to sit there and just really work the bean to death just to get the flavor out. I want something that's just gonna blend together, and this bean does not do it for me. I mean, the flavor is there. I appreciate the idea of the barbecue and mustard mixed together. I think that is great. But with this bean style, maybe take a different type of bean, put it in here, and it'd be a lot better. I wouldn't I wouldn't go on a second date with this. But I had a good time. I'm gonna say a 5 out of 10. I didn't know how I was gonna end all of that.
So you guys, the totals are in.
Oh, we did it.
We did it.
We ranked the
After
beans.
eating these
We did
delicious and some terrible and a lot of medium beans, we have come up with the ultimate rating. In 7th place, with the score of 8 out of a possible 40, is the HyVee beans.
It has potential though, but yeah.
I don't think it has potential. Potential to fill up
baked.
the garbage. It was gross. In 6th place, with a score of 10 out of 40 points, were the Dr. Pepper beans. In 5th place, with a score of 11 out of a possible 40 points, were the B&M beans.
Yeah.
And in 4th place, with a score of 14 out of 40 points, VanCamps.
I'm really surprised by that landing in 4th.
Yeah, when we first ate it, I was like, "Oh, this has to be the worst
Yeah, that
one,
was
right?"
that was a real bummer of an intro bean.
Yeah.
But like I didn't realize that there could be worse beans than that. So we found them.
And in third place, with the score of 24 out of 40 points, were the mustard beans.
I think it deserves a good third place. But.
And in a shocking second place, with a score of 27 points out
Dr.
of 40,
Pepper. Wait, what?
were Bush's baked beans.
Yep.
I was very surprised by that. I thought immediately that's going to be first.
What was the score there?
27 points.
27.
I mean, that
But-
was a real good bean.
Out of on first place, our winning bean with a score of 28 points.
I'm so mad
28.
Right now. I'm so mad.
were the ranch style beans.
Woo!
They're just better beans.
Ranch.
There's no
It's a
second
better
floor to
bean.
carry your furniture up to when you move in. Ranch style is the winner.
I want to have kids with that bean. I want to start a long-term, fully committed relation. I want to take out a loan with this bean, co-sign something. We're getting a house. This is a great bean.
There you have it, guys. We have our winner, the ranch style brand beans, are our quest for the best seal of approved beans. For more episodes and content, please check out our website at questforthebestpodcast.substack.com. And if you were entertained today, if you found value in our content, or if you have a bunch of money you would just love to give us, we will accept it. Please subscribe to our podcast. Paid subscribers will have access to bonus episodes every month, and we really just appreciate the support. So thanks for joining us today. It has been great. And until next week, stay safe out there.
Beans!